What's going on, everybody? This is Island Hopper TV, and today we're coming to you from Barcelona, Spain. There will be timestamps below so you can bounce around from destination to destination. First up is Casa Batlló. While in Barcelona, be sure to familiarize yourself with Anton Gaudi. He's an artist who created many of the spectacular Barcelona art that you will see while here. Casa Batlló is one of those buildings. It is 29 euros per person for an adult. Kids under 12 are free though. The highlights here include walking up the stairs where you'll see a lot of diversity in art, and then making it all the way to the rooftop where you can see what's going on there. Gaudi really was in a league of his own. And here is a little sneak peek at what you will see when you're on top of the roof here. And as we continue to take note of the beautiful structures here by Antoni Gaudi, we are now moving on to La Sagrada Familia. This basilica here is a cathedral for the Catholic Church. It actually began construction in 1882, and still to this day it is under construction. It did open in 2010 for the very first time. When you go here, do be aware that it is still a work in progress, and when you're there, take note just how intricate these structures really are. As you can see, they've got some gorgeous stained glass windows inside this cathedral. Also, some quick facts: there are elevators in here, so it is a really tall structure. It is actually considered the tallest religious building in all of Europe, standing at over 170 meters tall. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the people who created this and built this are immortalized in the stone. Antoni Gaudi, he was actually buried here. Now, ticket prices here do cost about 26 euros per person. Depending on if you're a senior, you can get a discount, or if you have a student card, you also get a discount. Now, the thing is, it does get very busy here, so be sure to try and book that ahead of time and show up early because the lines can get long. This is a very popular place. And in case you guys are wondering, La Sagrada Familia should be finished by 2026, so 3 more years, and this masterpiece should finally be finished. And now what do you guys say we head over to the waterfront? Now, I like the waterfront here because the Mediterranean sun just hits differently, especially in the months of November to May. That is some of the best sun you will find anywhere, and right here on the waterfront is just so friendly. But walking around here, you're gonna find restaurants, also some tour boats will be docked here. You can walk around all of this boardwalk here and then eventually head back over towards the Gothic Quarter, or keep carrying on towards the beaches. But the waterfront is a popular place to hang out, get a coffee, get a lemonade, cool off depending on the time of year you're here. The Barcelona waterfront actually bumps up next to La Rambla, right where the Christopher Columbus monument is. So if you get a chance, do all of this on a walking tour, right? Come out onto the waterfront and then wrap around to Barceloneta, which is actually where the beaches are, or head up into the Gothic Quarter. All of that can be done in one day. And speaking of beaches in Barcelona, there are a few that you'll want to take note of. There's Barceloneta, which I showed you before. That's right next to the waterfront. And then you have Playa de Bogatel, which is another one right here in the central area. There is a big casino in Barcelona right on the beach as well. Generally speaking, the beaches in Barcelona are very safe. There's no dangerous currents really to speak of, and they rarely get big waves. So it's just this azure colored water, very laid back vibes. If you go further south in Spain, the beaches tend to get better, especially as you go towards the Straits of Gibraltar. And 9 months out of the year, I would say Barcelona is a very active city. It gets a little bit chilly in the winter, but it's got a long spring, I would call it here. And now we're moving on to Montjuic, which is actually a mountain here in Barcelona. They have a castle right here at the top. There's also a national art gallery, which we will be showing you later. But here is just a look around this castle at Montjuic. It is an old military fortress dating all the way back to 1640. Now, how do you get here? Well, you can take a cable car, which takes about 5 minutes. We'll be showing you that a little later on. Or the other way is to just walk up the mountain from down below. You go right through a park. Next up, we're at Park Guell. Now, this one's up inland a bit away from the coast, located on Carmel Hill. Now, this is another work of Anton Gaudi. It's a World Heritage Site that was built in 1900, and it's a series of parks with unique buildings and architecture here on location. Gaudi was a man who liked to incorporate the feeling of nature into his architecture. That's why a lot of it has that stone finish look, and some of it has these mosaic tiles that also create beautiful statues. The ticket price here is 10 euros. As you can also see, you get great views overlooking all of Barcelona from up here. And as we kind of walk around here at the gardens, you can see the unique architecture that Gaudi brought to this Catalonian style. Next up, we're headed to Tibidabo. This here is also a mountain location. They have a big Ferris wheel here. They also have great views and the Church of the Sacred Heart up here on Mount Tibidabo. There is no admission cost to get inside the church, but if you wanted to take the lift, you would have to pay to get the better views. The church began construction in 1902 and took 60 years to complete. This really is a gem of a location. Alright, so now what we're going to do is head back down the hill to where the cable car is. You can get the cable car going in one direction. That's going to cost you 12.50 euros, or you can do it round trip, return ticket included, 20 euros. There are 3 stops, and like I said, it does take about 5 minutes to get up to the top. It is considered a modern cable car, so it does have quality. Now, it does only run during daylight hours from 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., so keep that in mind. Next up, let's talk about food in Barcelona. So you're going to have a lot of wine selections, also meats. They have jamón ibérico, which is something that you might want to try, gazpacho. They also have some croquettes, but I like to go here and get some tapas. Tapas is a variety of different appetizers that they serve. And then you also have lamb shank. I really like lamb chops here. And when it comes to veggies, expect to have a lot of onions. You're gonna have some tomatoes, obviously, with the gazpacho. Fresh salad, and believe it or not, they do love their beans. White beans, brown beans. You can also get fresh produce from the local markets, especially the one on La Rambla. Plenty of variety and seafood dishes for those of you who love their seafood. Barcelona's got you covered. And then, like I said before, lots of assorted meats. And this here is the Arc de Triumph, but this is the arch that actually led to the 1888 World Exhibition Fair that was held right here at Parc de la Ciutadella, which is actually right in the heart of Barcelona, in my opinion. So this area right here, I do recommend walking around this park. It's very relaxed, and I actually think this is one of my favorite ponds I've ever been to, this one here around the park. Entrance to the park and the arch is actually free, so that's good news. It opens up at 10 a.m. for those of you who want to get an early morning in. Not going to happen here, but the grounds are extensive. They do cover around 70 acres. And by the way, if you guys check the links in the description, you'll see we did a top 25 best cities to visit in Europe. So if you haven't already seen that video and you're looking to go to Europe, definitely must watch that. I will put a link below in the description and the comment. And let's keep this show on the road. Now we're headed up to Santa Maria Montserrat, or the Abbey of Montserrat as it's known. This is actually a Benedictine monastery up here in the mountains. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Barcelona. And to the people of Barcelona, this is considered a sacred mountain. It is an old mountain. The Romans knew about it. And inside of the actual house, there's an ancient wooden statue of the Virgin Mary and her child that was supposedly carved by St. Luke. Now we're headed back down to Barcelona to the Gothic Quarter. This area is very much like cruising through medieval streets. Nowadays you can find Catalan restaurants, clubs, some trendy bars. There's also some museum of history here, but for the most part it shows the remains of the old Roman city that was here. Artisans still are selling their leather, and there's other street vendors around the area that ultimately leads towards La Rambla. And the reason this place is so popular is because this is where the Romans supposedly laid claim to the land and built their first settlement right here on this coastline. That's why it's so famous. It also has this labyrinth of pathways and streets and architecture that really takes you back in time and gives you this medieval atmosphere feeling. Next up, we're headed to the National Art Museum of Catalonia. Here they're going to have works of art by Picasso. They also have some Romanesque art, and as you go around this big, huge museum, you realize it's more than just an art museum. It really is an architectural wonder right here in Barcelona. There are many famous artists who have their art here. Famous works of art like The Woman in the Hat and Fur Collar by Pablo Picasso. And they say entrance into this museum is actually free after 3 o'clock on Saturdays. They do have a collection size of 290,000 pieces, and they average an annual attendance to this museum of 1 million visitors per year. I highly recommend this art museum. Now we're headed to the Plaza of Catalonia, and the Plaza de Catalonia really is the heart and soul of Barcelona. If there was ever a meeting spot or a central location, this is kind of where it all gels together right here at Plaza Catalonia. They've got a lot of fountains all around here, some old architectural buildings, and obviously they're going to be feeding some pigeons because, you know, that's the thing to do. In the early 19th century, when they decided to demolish all the old city walls, this was kind of an area that rose out of that demolition and became the square that it is today. Around here you will find restaurants, of course, cafes, and also several hotels. I would say if you can get a hotel nearby this area, you're probably going to be smack dab right in the middle of Barcelona where you need to be. And next up, the statue of Christopher Columbus here in Barcelona. It's in a great area. It is a controversial statue, but basically Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas for Spain, as they would say, even though he was Italian. But here at the Columbus Monument, you're right next to La Rambla, and it is one of the most popular places to start your day. Around the base is flanked with these really cool lions that you can take pictures with, and if you actually keep going on La Rambla down towards the waterfront, you can end up going back to the waterfront area, like I said before, and just get some lunch or some dinner and recalibrate for a night on the town. Next up, we're headed to Mercado Boqueria. So this market is just off La Rambla, right there in the heart of it all, and it is a metallic glass structure from the exterior. You can see it really is a unique structure, but the reason it's famous is because of the quality and the diversity of products that you will find here from all over the world, really. And of course, you can pick up some fresh produce or meats if you need to. This is the city's market. And we finally made it to La Rambla. Now, La Rambla is a main thoroughfare that goes from the Christopher Columbus statue all the way inland. It goes along for about a mile or 1.2 kilometers. And you're going to see a lot of these street performers along the road. As you can see, I kept tipping each one that I came up to, and they all kind of do a unique thing. But La Rambla is much more than just street performers. It's also going to have some vendors and lots of people just walking up and down here. It's the main thoroughfare, like I said. And for the most part, it is going to be tourists that you will see here. About 50% of those that are going to be walking around are tourists. There are some locals that come here, but they're typically the vendors. And it is one of the most popular things to do while in Barcelona. I do admit it is a bit of a tourist trap, but still it's worth it to actually come down here and check it out. And in this area, you're going to have the Gothic Quarter, the Waterfront, and the Casa Batlló, and the Arc de Triumph, as well as several museums. So really just a great place to hang out. You can see it does get very crowded at times. It does take about an hour to go up and down that mile stretch. And that is a look at the Catalonia flag. You'll notice it's different than the Spanish flag. They do want to separate from Spain and become their own country. But on to the next subject, we're going to the Barcelona Metro. So one of the things you can do while here is take the subway system around the city. I found it to be very efficient. And if you wanted to take the subway from La Rambla to the National Palace, you can easily do so. This is going to be another one of those walking areas. It is a plaza. Outside of that National Palace area where the museum is, you'll see these two pillars and this roundabout that's very popular. It's a nice place to walk around. You'll also see a theater nearby. So check out this area called the National Palace, and you can see why on the outside it's very beautiful. They've got lots of fountains as you walk up towards the National Palace, which is actually now the Catalonia Art Museum, which we highlighted before. Some of you may be interested to hear this. The Olympics of 1992 that were held in Barcelona are very close to the National Palace area. You can actually walk about 15 minutes and you will be there. Around here they also have gardens as you kind of go away from the palace. And when you're in Barcelona, there's a building that's going to stand out more than anything. It's the Torre Glorious. It used to be called the Torre Agbar. It's a 38-story skyscraper. And there actually is a new observation deck at the top that they just opened. So you can actually go up there. And that's a wrap from Barcelona. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button. Consider subscribing and watching our other videos. I will put a link to our Rome Best Things to Do video as well as 25 Best Cities in Europe. See you on the next one. You can click the end screen to watch now.